very good evening to you, and welcome to another program of Walter Rodney Groundings. I'm your host, Deon Abrams, and with me on the program this evening, I have two esteemed gentlemen. Mr. Carl Greenidge to my far left is now becoming a regular member of Walter Rodney Groundings, and I have Mr. Christopher Ram. Both men are no strangers to you, so I welcome you both to the program this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leon. I thought you were about to qualify esteemed or is it gentleman? Which one of those two?
Already he was qualifying in relation to one and not the other.
That's okay.
It's applicable to both. Before we talk about the issues today, I want to invite the public to the WPA invites members of the public to a symposium on the prorogation and its aftermath, including the announcement made by the President Donald Ramtar in relation to elections in 2015. The symposium is on Thursday, December 18th at the National Library from 3 p.m. From 4:30? 4:30 p.m. The panelists include Professor Clive Thomas, Mr. Carl Greenidge, and Mr. Christopher Ram, attorney at law and accountant. The moderator will be Mrs. Tabitha Sarbo Halley, and remember the date is the 18th of December at the National Library. Well, gentlemen, there are several things that we would want to talk about this evening. I would like to focus on. I don't know if we'll be able to deal with all of them. Of course, we have the announcement made by the President. I also want us to talk about the 5% and the 8% increase that would have been given to public servants once again. And then we possibly can talk about the proposal that would have been put forward by the Private Sector Commission in relation to their perception of how the impasse can be resolved. So I think the issue current is the announcement by the President that the impasse is getting nowhere, that his view that it would have been a cooling off period for the opposition to get sense and to understand that the Parliament should be doing the work in the interest of the people and all the things that the PPP would have been saying, that these things have not materialized, that the idea of having talks will not materialize based upon his letter to the leader of the opposition. And so he has said that elections will be called in 2015. No date has been set. What is your take on the President's position? I don't know, Mr. Greenidge, would you want to begin?
Well, certainly. Thank you very much. And once more, thank you for the invitation to join you this evening. The President's position has been less than persuasive. I think the public was not convinced that the logic provided as regards the prorogation was really defensible. And having claimed that the idea of the prorogation was to facilitate dialogue, he has now said to the public, well, the dialogue didn't take place. Well, we could have told him that before, because it wasn't necessary to, if you like, to suspend or prorogue the Parliament in order to facilitate dialogue. And the other dimension is the approach of the government to discussions. You start off saying you want dialogue, but you open it with a tirade of abuse and misrepresentation of the situation. Now, he is forced to come to the public to admit that it isn't really dialogue that is on the table, or that is the option he has, but that he has to dissolve Parliament. But that was the situation that he should have recognized since July, when the no confidence motion was laid. So all that the President has done actually is to seize a longer period in office than the opposition was ready to afford him. In other words, the law says if you can't command a majority of MPs in support of your programs, and they vote against you in terms of a no confidence motion, or they vote against a budget, then you should resign. And that is what actually should have transpired since that no confidence motion was laid. And it should have been voted on so that we could have had elections by the end of this year. So all he has done is to have seized time from the people of Guyana, give himself a longer time in office.
Mr. Brown.
I think the president is really making a mockery of democracy. And whatever we might say of this constitution, it has become a de facto constitution. At least let's try to honor it. The last time the parliament met was on July the 10th. There was lots of arguments about who should reconvene parliament after the recess. The president then announced the convening of the National Assembly on November the 10th. On the morning of November the 10th, we hear there's a proclamation proroguing the National Assembly, in other words, suspending it for the benefit of viewers. And he gave as his reason, very, very spurious and artificial, that he wanted talks. Clearly, he was trying, like the government has done in relation to local government elections. And we must put these two together. You deny us local government elections for nearly, since 1994 we have not had. The next one was due in 1997. We have not had local government elections for 17 years that they were due. We want to stretch and exploit whatever possibilities might be thought to exist in relation to postponing national elections or general elections. The president knew, as Mr. Greenidge said, knew that there was no possibility of talks outside of the forum, and the persons who voted people voted them to go and talk in the National Assembly. Yes, you can have whatever discussions you want outside, but you have to, the formal and the constitutional and the democratic forum is the National Assembly. You can't avoid that. Then the president, now I did not agree with Mr. Greenidge delaying his response. I believe we should have had a firm response early o'clock. Don't give the president any excuse, because he used it as an excuse to say, okay, I now get it. And what does he do? He then says, I will have a press conference to decide the way forward. And he takes at least another month. It is not naming of elections. What he said, I am continuing the suspension. They know nothing about elections. The clock does not begin to tick until the parliament is dissolved. It does not begin to tick. So it's a complete farce. Now, it's all right to play this kind of politics when you have a populace that seems to allow this trampling over their democratic rights. But this thing has serious implications for our business community. We're in total confusion. When is the parliament going to be reconvened? When do we get the telecommunications bill passed? When do we get the money laundering? These are important issues that matter for the international community and international businesses. Let's stop this nonsense and pretend we are democratic. What the president is doing is very cynically exploiting and abusing the constitution and trampling over the rights of the people and throwing and casting out democracy.
Okay. Now, people have said, I know other parties would have said that, similar to what you have said, that he's just playing for time, that he should have announced the date, and that, the belief that, they can do things within the period to muster support. They've actually begun campaigning to the extent that criticisms were made of them using public funds to launch a campaign to go into the communities, the Amerindian communities and all of that. The president has said that, well, look, the ministers can't walk. I know that you, Mr. Ram, would have been loud in your complaints against the use of the state funds for
Misuse, not use.
misuse of state funds for campaigning and so on. You've also said that political parties should declare, where their finances would have been coming from for election campaigns and so on. Now, the president, you said, is playing for time. They're campaigning. They're using public funds. What is your response to his claim that the ministers can walk?
If they want to do political work, let them chart a plane, let them do whatever they want. Nobody's telling him. Again, the president is treating this country like if we're made of jackasses. We are not jackasses. Nobody told him to his ministers must walk. If they want to walk, if they want to go by bicycle, if they want to paddle a canoe, whatever they want to do, let them do, but not with taxpayers' money. And it is a complete abuse of the consolidated fund. And you see, but this is the problem, and this is what the prorogation allows as well, because everything is suspended. The Public Accounts Committee of it, Carl Greenidge is the chairperson. That too is suspended. They have no rights, no oversight, partner.
Yeah, Mr. Greenidge.
Yeah. Well, I agree. The Constitution and the laws of Guyana are clear that monies should only be spent for the purposes that they were approved for under the Appropriation Act. And those monies that they are spending for campaigning, those directions that are being given to public officials to undertake tasks that are associated with the work of enhancing the status of the PPP, they have to be funded from the PPP's coffers. They're not to be funded by taxpayers. But this is a principle which the government has seems to have difficulty adhering to from time immemorial. And maybe, again, when we come to look at constitutional changes, one has to deal with this explicitly. But let me say, Nandlal, for example, likes to cite the government of India. The government of India's constitution is very, very specific on prohibitions about the use of state funds as you approach elections. It puts a restriction on the commitments that can be made within months of an election being due, and it also states clearly that funds can be used for the types of purposes which the president suggests. It is completely ridiculous, and I agree with Chris, to suggest that the ministers have no option but to spend monies on whatever they want to do during the course of an election campaign. Ministers have jobs, and those jobs actually, as set out in the Constitution, do not include campaigning on behalf of a political party. The minister is paid to do work associated with enhancing the public good, not with pursuing the goals of a political party. And if the president feels that that work is so important that the ministers carry them out, either they should resign or they should ensure that the time and the use of state resources is separated in such a way that there is no confusion over the use of money for such purposes.
Let me add, in India, the rules that Mr. Greenidge is referring to, you cannot even start projects, not party work, even projects for the public good.
Okay.
You can't do it because it could be seen as electioneering.
That's a fact.
So what makes us so different? Why are all these things happening and there seems to be no halt to them? We've seen abuse after abuse after abuse.
You from Buxton,
Okay.
you know, we always start the story, old people say, you get an inch, you take a yard. What should happen, what we need is more defiance and resistance from the populace. Taxpayers' money is being wasted and being abused. When they go out there, the political parties, now I am for democratic resistance. But we should start protesting vociferously against these abuse, because every time you do it and you get away with it, they will do a little bit more. And let me tell you what I consider the real a broader danger. What the PPP Civic is now doing is setting a bar of democracy or democracy. And the next government, because what did they say? Oh, the PNC used to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, their bar for democracy is really extremely low. There is none. You have no democracy now. People voted, whatever, 176,000 people, and their representatives have been told, get out of this building. Get out of the people's building.
The thing is that there are two sides to this. Chris has emphasized, if you like, extra parliamentary action to the extent that the legal mechanisms are not being invoked or are failing. You have to turn to the extra parliamentary mechanisms, whether they be by demonstrations or physical pressure on the government. But in truth, it is caused by a lawless government. The fact is that the legislation as it exists is quite clear. But as you see with the behavior of the Attorney General, the behavior of the Minister of Finance, they believe that they can simply break the law, and because the Constitution gives such overwhelming executive power to the President, and the President controls executive organs that are really become his creatures. They really become his creatures. Where PSs should be able to say no, they don't say no. Where heads of departments, police, DPP, and otherwise should be saying no, they don't say no. You see the case with the Ombudsman, for example, where, in the view of the Ombudsman, what occurred in relation to 3 innocent managers in an entity for not following the wishes of the President was really quite appalling, that people should be subject to the force of the state, charged with a crime that was a fictitious crime as far as their involvement was concerned, shows the extent to which this has become a very, very lawless country. And the thing is that it permeates the whole society. The example I like to draw to people's attention is this. If you look at the traffic on the roads of Guyana, you will see not only wild behavior in terms of how people do things, but in fact, underlying that is the issue of licenses to people, for the most part, who have never done a driving test. Most of the people who are driving out there, and the government is not concerned, they're not uncomfortable about it. This for them is quite acceptable. If you can pay for it, you ought to have it.
Carl, they're doing their own illegalities. Look, let's face it, this so-called Attorney General has committed a criminal act of taking money out of the consolidated fund. He, as we just say in Alexander Village, he take it. And he said, when he get catch, when Glenlal catch he, and said, I'm going to disclose it, he put it back. He admitted to that. What kind of DPP? A DPP who was conducting investigations at the Muslim Youth Organization place? Is that a DPP? Does she know that you have, so I wouldn't worry about it. Yes, we must worry about the traffic, but that has become secondary. That has become secondary now. Does she know that we are a secular state, and all this business about getting religion involved in the administration of justice is completely unacceptable? But when you have this lawlessness, when you're Attorney General, and bear in mind, Nandalal is the first Attorney General in this country against whom the Bar Association has called on the President or call on him to resign or have the President sack him. The Bar Association, I'm secretary, and I would hope the Bar Association does not cooperate with Nandalal. In fact, anytime I'm anywhere, he gets up to speak, I will walk out. He has admitted to criminal conduct, and let us see what the police are doing about it. Because a complaint has been lodged, we want to know what they're doing. Now, those are serious illegalities, partner, committed by your Attorney General. And you know something? Somebody called me today and said, but Chris, which one of them lying? Is it the President or Nandalal? Nandalal said the President spoke with a certain lady about a tax matter.
Yes.
The president say, no, that is not true. Who lying? Now, it's either the president is lying or Nandalal is lying.
In either case,
No.
this is terrible.
This is completely unacceptable. Man, this is going below the level of the gutter. We can't. What is our country? Anybody listening or reading, what do they say about our country? Nowhere would this be acceptable. So the president, in fact, if for no other reason, the president should fire Nandalal, because then Nandalal tell a lie on the president. But he also put his hand in the consolidated fund.
Yeah, but,
I almost said a cup, but I wouldn't want to say cup.
well, that's an admission by Nandalal.
Yes.
But the consolidated fund part is something that, you know, the government has been using as it feels. Apart from that, we have Brother Desmond Trotman taking the NISIL to court over the leasing of
Oh, the Brassington.
the Brassington issue. So the use of monies for the PPP, you know, the use of state funds, we just talked about the financing of their campaigns and so on. It's not something that they are pretty concerned about. For us, it seems as though the funds of the state, the people's money, belongs to them. So it's a wide perception that they hold. So if they deal with Nandalal, possibly there are all the others who would have to be victims of the same kind of treatment. So how do they deal with that? That is the question.
Man, you're not a victim if you thief and you get sanctioned. You're not a victim. You're a perpetrator of a crime, chap.
Okay, well, so all of them
Well,
will
I
have to
think
be.
he's suggesting that there is a fear that if action is taken
All of
against
them
one,
will.
the action will have to be extended to the others.
Well, that,
in the
that's
interest
true.
of
But
fairness.
isn't that
But
what the
this is-
rule of
yeah,
law
yeah.
and decency
They shouldn't be above the
are
law.
those things that underpin our constitution?
Yeah, but it talks about the depth of the corruption that we're talking about. You see?
You know, we must not accept any form of corruption. Any form. And it is because, as I was saying, the old people say, that you thief a little bit today, you get away with it, you're going to thief some more. And I want to make this point, and the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, but you all would have nothing to, I don't know what's going to happen with the next parliament. This money apparently came out of the Ministry of Health. Now, so it's not only one minister or one ministry involved, it's more than one. Now, this is something you would think if you had a decent Auditor General. But you don't
you
have a
want to
decent
have-
Auditor
you
General.
want
You
to
don't have a
have-
qualified Auditor General. You don't have a competent Auditor General. If you had a decent Auditor General, he would have immediately begun an investigation into that transaction. And I'm wondering whether it is not something that maybe the Ombudsman might want to look at. Somebody's got to do it, because the police don't want to do it, the DPP doesn't want to do it, the Auditor General doesn't want to do it. Who gonna do it? And we don't want to get into a situation where people start taking the law into their own hands. Let us do it on the basis of rule of law, which includes the enforcement of law.
Okay. Let me just remind people that the WPA is inviting members of the public to the symposium on the prorogation of Parliament and its aftermath, including Ramatar's announcement of elections in 2015. The event will be held on Thursday, December 18, 2014 at the National Library from 4:30 p.m. And the panelists are Professor Clive Thomas, Mr. Carl Greenidge, and Mr. Christopher Ram. The moderator is Mrs. Tabitha Sarbo Halley, and that event takes place on Thursday, December 18, 2014 at the National Library. We have spoken a lot about the myth and all of the things that they've been saying about the reason for prorogation of Parliament. Now, they've continued this whole line of argument in relation to the recent 5% increase for public servants and the 8% increase for public servants. They've argued, I've listened to Dr. Luncheon and Dr. Ramsamy saying that Parliament has been unproductive. The country was going nowhere because of the nature of the opposition. The opposition is anti-development, that projects that would have brought progress, the Amelia Falls Hydro project, the Marriott Hotel, the airport expansion, all of these things the opposition would have been fighting against, and these are the things that would have made it possible for workers to benefit more, that the increase would have been, far more if these projects were allowed to come on stream and so on. How truthful? Is there any truth at all in those arguments or swings that they've been putting to the entire situation?
Well, I would deem these as by and large rubbish, based upon actually complete falsehoods. As regards if you like, the fruitfulness of government investments and its potential investments, let us just look at the major projects that the government has implemented in recent years. The largest of these, the most important of these, is of course the Skeldon factory, which was commissioned in 2009. 2009, 5 years later, Skeldon's capacity to deliver sugar is not only less than planned, but it is below the capacity of mills built 50 years prior to Skeldon. Mills built long before Skeldon are delivering with an efficiency that Skeldon has yet to deliver.
Well, they wanted to replace. They wanted to replace was more productive.
Yes. And we have a situation in which the managers of Gaisuko are saying to us, we need additional money to fix this. Now, you're saying that the opposition has been obstructive. What did the opposition do in relation to Skeldon? It did not have the capacity to stop the money going to Skeldon. But that opposition, which is in the ninth parliament, was the ninth parliament, called upon the government to have a different arrangement, to not award the contract in the way or to the enterprise that it awarded it. It went ahead in spite of the opposition. And today we have a situation in which in 2014, billions of dollars had to be given to Gaisuko, 6 billion. And in 2015, doubtless, more money will be requested for Gaisuko. Now, what is it you're saying? You have to make up your mind. The government did what it wanted, in spite of what the opposition says. And now we have the disaster that is Gaisuko, billions of dollars having to be found from taxpayers to fund Gaisuko. What happened in relation to Amelia? What happened in relation to Marriott? What happened in relation to the Demerara and West Demer roads? In relation to the upgrading of the roads and the construction of the road to Amelia, the government cannot claim that there has been any obstruction by the opposition of these projects. They've been funded. They have been funded. And what has happened? Only in today's paper, I think if you look at the paper there, you will see that the paper is drawing attention to a segment of the road constructed by the Chinese contractor, which has collapsed even before the road has been completed.
Before any traffic.
Before it can attract any traffic. That has something to do with the opposition. That is a productive developmental project. It is no developmental project. It cannot deliver, because if you can't deliver materials and so forth to the end of that road, it is a waste of resources. And we've had that experience. Well, I'm going to come to that. The original cost of the road was somewhere in the region of $15.4 million US. The specs that were devised for the road appear to have come out of NISIL, rather than specs which were developed and vetted and approved by the technicians in the Ministry of Works. So NISIL prepared those specs. Some people even suggest that the specs were improperly drawn up. In any case, Mr. Brassington and the people in the department at that time had no capacity to check and vet engineering specifications. The specification having been issued, the Motilal could not even meet those specifications. When the contract had to be taken away from him because he couldn't complete the work in time. Before significant work was done by the contractor, and after the award of the contract to the Chinese insisted that the specs be re-examined. They had to pay a Trinidadian firm to redo the specifications in light of the inadequacies of the specs. So today you have a road that should have cost $15 million, 15.4, today already running over $35 million and counting. Okay? This is not proof that the government has the capacity to design and implement any development projects. The story of that road has been repeated endlessly elsewhere. All the other roads, the East Bank Demerara Road had to be reconstructed so many times. The joke for a road that's being constructed along the East Coast, so-called 4-lane highway, where you build, you have to knock down, modify, even though people were saying this is not the way to go. And you know, when those roads are finished, you're going to have problems in terms of water, in terms of aquaplaning of vehicles on the roads. So it is a joke for the government to suggest that they were, and they are in a position, and they have been putting in place developmental projects which have yielded returns to the public, and those returns of potential projects are being denied. It's nonsense. The projects that the government has implemented are projects that have been largely uneconomic, where they have not been complete failures. And that is the fact. So if the things that you have done have yielded nothing, or have yielded burdens on the taxpayer, you cannot suggest that the things you will do automatically will yield benefits. It doesn't follow. They are unable to pay workers because the monies that have been received from taxpayers and from the public enterprises which are operational have been used for things that are of low priority. When you take 10 cents and you invest it in a project, and the project yields 2 cents when it should have yielded 200 cents, it is one, the taxpayer who loses, and the person who is taxed in this sense. The 10 cents, the 2 cents that is generated actually is a travesty, because the person who is taxed could have used that money to look after their health. You understand what I'm saying? They could have used it to educate their children and so forth. So I think the government operates on the basis that you have an ignorant populace, as Chris was saying. They don't really understand. If the government takes your money and wastes it on a road or on a Gaisuko factory or any other factory, or investing in a hotel which it can't finish financing, it means that the person who is taxed, which means you and I and those viewers are denied the opportunity to have spent the money on their medical bills, on their school children and so forth. It is what the economists call opportunity cost. Money spent by the government is money not spent by the person who is taxed. And if the government misspends the money, it means that you have less welfare, less health services, less educational services, and a range of other things that should have normally been a benefit to you. The other thing is that when you take the money and you are building more seats in an airport on the assumption that tourists come to a country because they have a nice airport. Utter nonsense. People don't come to a country because the airport is nice. They come to a country because a range of facilities are in place to get them to something that they regard as desirable. So if you want to have safaris, in the end, the safari itself, or if you want to see a city, the city has to be clean, it has to be attractive, it has to be safe. You don't substitute an airport for the destination that the tourist is intending to visit. And at this point in time, 50 years of tourism in Guyana is not going to generate the income that you lose from not dredging the Demerara Harbor and not putting in place proper port facilities. 50 years, because the types of tourists that Guyana will attract will be tourists who are environmental tourists. They come in small numbers. They don't come in thousands in a plane like they go to Barbados. They come in small numbers. They pay high income for intensive services. They like to catch. I know that Chris is probably an expert in these things. They can catch tiger fish. They can learn to catch lukanani. They can sunbathe and drink scotch on the.
Let me say this, Carl. I'm a vegetarian, and I don't believe you should be taking the fish out of the water. But let's, on a serious note, Carl mentioned Gaisuko.
Okay.
You could have talked about the packaging plant.
Oh yes,
That is
sure,
idle.
sure. Which
The
the
Hope
minister said
Estate.
so wonderful.
You spend billions of dollars, and the first rainfall that comes, what happens? GPL, millions and millions of US dollars have been spent on GPL. It is one of the most incompetently run.
The whole region.
In the most incompetently run entities. So when they talk about money, they talk about a miler. Cite Global con Brassington, and Brassington decide to con the country. The project was premised on fuel at $200 a barrel. You know what it is now, partner?
Less than 70.
Just about 70 US dollars. So nobody was against. Every one of us wants cheaper electricity. Part of our electricity bill is because of the incompetence of the people at GPL. It's not because of fuel price. It's because of incompetence. Brassington is the chairman. That man has so much to answer for. So much to answer for. So,
And you spent $500 million cleaning up Georgetown and cleaning the canals. If you pick up the average taxi driver or the average Georgetown citizen, they will doubt that money was ever spent cleaning up Georgetown. You can't. How could you spend $500 million and a morning of rain or an evening of rain? The entire city is underwater. Rubbish is very evident everywhere. That's what I'm saying. We have to be glad that something like Ebola doesn't come anywhere near here, because it would have wiped all of us out in
thank you,
no
Lord.
time.
Thank you, Lord. Now, this wage increase story. When you take 5% of Gail Teixeira million, or Charles Ramsden million, he likes to be called honorable, million, you get more money than the public servant gets per month. Just their increase. I mean, it is so ill thought out, but there's a bigger problem. Where is collective bargaining? That, we have that as part of our rights. We have seen our rights being
That people have died for,
systematically.
right?
We
That
will
people
die for,
people should
including
know that.
the Enmore martyrs.
Yes.
They died for these rights. And now the very PPP that hypocritically goes there and weep and shed crocodile tears are now trampling
the rights.
on the rights of workers. So that's an issue. Now forget whether our trade union movement is doing enough, because in my view they certainly are not. But that is no reason to abuse the workers, because this is a form of abuse.
Yes.
And as Carl said, money is fungible. That you waste it on this project and that project, it means it's not available for something else. When you pay pension to people who don't qualify for it, like former judges and so
And
on,
who don't contribute to also.
you're
president.
taking away from the poor people. It's a criminal enterprise, which is what Clive Thomas has kept saying. You have almost a criminal
Criminalized
enterprise
state.
posing as a government.
But we have not even mentioned the specialty hospital, the disaster that has occurred there.
Well, it's the same principle. The opposition said to the government, this contract and the award of the contract poses us problems. We don't agree. You need to make it transparent and be aware that the world is looking. The vice president of Feders Lloyd, for example, accused the government of not respecting its own procurement rules. I mean, this is a serious thing. And here it is. The government goes ahead with the project and gives the public the impression. I think most people in the public still believe that a specialty hospital is supposed to deliver services to Guyanese. It has nothing to do with Guyanese, neither Guyanese doctors in terms of skills and experience, nor Guyanese patients. It is for foreigners, and I keep stressing this. But even so, the government has gone ahead with it in circumstances where they were under attack by the opposition. And what has happened? A
Carl,
similar experience as
Have you seen a proper project document for this
not for
hospital?
the project.
Imagine that you're spending all these millions of US dollars. There's not even a proper project proposal. And before we move on, I want to say, you're talking about 5% and 8%. When you think of what some of the politicians have got, those who help to expropriate public lands from Praderville too, they have got thousands of percentage increase. I mean, these are people who had nothing a few years ago. Nobody said they mustn't earn. Every one of us. Our constitution says you shouldn't discriminate. Why should politicians amass wealth at the level at which they have been amassing?
Chris, I think you're a bit confused. Let me just explain to you. One minister has explained, and he got some men to send us the equivalent of a petition, saying that his grandfather was a multimillionaire. The grandfather left the money to him, and that's what he's spending
So
now.
tell me
Except,
something.
wait, let me finish. I don't think you are aware. I mean, you're a lawyer, but you probably haven't had experience with these things. The grandfather actually, I think, stipulated that he couldn't spend any of this money until
Till he became a
government
minister? Oh wow, his grandfather had a lot of foresight.
And there you go. There you go. So you must understand.
But tell
these
me
things.
something. So, that is why a messenger from Freedom House could suddenly become a multi-millionaire
Grandfathers.
grandfather and grandmother.
Grandfathers, yeah.
You mustn't forget
Foresight.
Nani and Nana and Aji and Aja. So, I mean, it is criminal. Look at what Jack Dio has amassed. That is,
Yeah,
how
and
could
on
you
top of that,
justify?
you're giving him
And-
additional benefits.
And he get a little sick,
unlimited,
and he
uncapped.
get a little sick, and you don't know which plane he used.
He denied using that one.
He probably has. Maybe there was another one. Maybe there was another one. But you know, so what we have a system that is completely dysfunctional, that has been totally
Destroyed,
exploited and destroyed. It has become a monster. And so everything is dysfunctional, illegal, undemocratic. And you know, if you had your way and it was possible to redesign, we don't. What we have to do, but it has to begin from now. And it has to begin with every one of us. Every one of us has got to say, we will not allow this to continue. Look, the NCN and Chronicle, look at what's happening. The taxpayers' representatives are shut out from this. They tell you when the government puts advertisement in the Chronicle purely to help prop it up, that's not an economic decision. That is discrimination. But discrimination, I've said this before. This is the first time I think I'm invited to Groundings. I don't know if I will ever get the chance to come back.
I'm sure you will.
But there is serious discrimination, and the Constitution says you can't discriminate, partner. Now, we have got to start saying, NCN, you must open up. Chronicle, this is unacceptable. You cannot go cussing Greenidge and cussing everybody else because
And threatening people too.
and threatening because they speak up, do the job they're elected to do. So
If we might come back to the same question, the workers have to recognize, the same workers that get the 5 and 8% need to recognize and to take action, because the reason why they are paid these small amounts is because the money is misspent. But more than that, what the government does in relation to the collective bargain, and let's come back there because this is important, you frustrate the process of collective bargaining. The government has proven itself, I mean, in one way you can say it's been an effective negotiating in the sense that it's yielded absolutely nothing. But a negotiation, that's not what a negotiation is supposed to do. So what they do is you negotiate for the whole year, you get nothing. And as people get desperate at Christmas time, you give them a pittance, you throw a bone by them so as to keep them quiet, and the process starts again for the next year. The government has been doing this since the Armstrong arbitration.
I was about to say that's how the white people in the days of slavery used to treat. You know, at Christmas time they give the pig face and the cow tail. It is the pittance. It is the breadcrumbs, and it's time. My frustration is we got to stop it.
Yeah, but that's something I want to
At
talk
all
about.
levels,
Ah.
you're speaking about the wages. The workers must understand that nothing is going to happen for them unless they do something for themselves. Okay, and all the other elements in the society have to understand that.
Yeah, but the PPP continues to behave as though, like you said, the people of Guyana are ignorant, that they are not aware of what is happening to them, because Roger Luncheon said that we've been bargaining with the union and we've bargained, they're not coming with anything of substance. And if we had restarted the negotiations, then certainly the people would not have gotten the 5% that we've given them. It would have gone over to January. And how could people who really want this little,
I just
boost-
now I just now talk about slavery. Isn't Luncheon ashamed to say some of those things? And he's a beneficiary of the Pradoville 2
Well,
project as well.
and they're not paying taxes to the rich and to the people of Pleasance.
Well, I don't know where they pay. I don't know where they pay.
So, it's a shameful thing because, like you said, Chris, nothing is really happening. I heard Mr. Patrick Yard saying that he has to weigh, the decisions he makes in terms of how to respond to the government's intransigence, because he doesn't want to cause
Patrick Yard has had 10 years of this. What is he waiting for?
I don't know, but he has to consider what happens when these decisions are made. But we also have, I was talking to a young man today and last night, youngsters are expressing to me their disgust at the political leadership. They feel that, somehow the leadership has become decadent, retrograde, all of the terms that suggest that we need a new kind of leadership.
I will leave that to Mr. Greenidge.
I'd be happy to respond. I was in a very pleasant exchange with 3 youngsters, one of whom was a graduate, the other 2 were about to graduate, will soon be graduating. And I responded to that point by saying I utterly reject it, I don't accept it.
Okay.
First of all, bear in mind that a country gets the government it deserves. And if the leadership in the opposition and the leadership in the government are dominated by old and decadent people, you have a responsibility as a citizen to make sure that you get yourself into a variety of places. First of all, the NGOs or non-state actors, and if you're a member of a church or if you're a member of a community group or whatever, you go in there and make your voice heard, so that community group in turn can make its voice heard in the community. For those who are members of political parties, if you are a youngster, whether you are 17 or 29, and you're a member of a political party, you have to go into the party's halls, the halls of the party, and make your voice heard. The reason why the political parties can, in the views of some of the youngsters, be so ineffectual is twofold. One is that many of the parties don't have a significant amount of youngsters who are active. And that's going to be reflected in the agenda that they have. They've got to come in. You can't create a vacuum in terms of age groups. You're not there, and you complain that people are not doing things for you. I'm not supposed to be speaking only on behalf of youngsters, for example. I'm not supposed to know all that they want. They have to find a way to communicate with me and also to help by coming into the parties and dynamizing those parties and removing the corruption in the parties. They have a responsibility as the bulk of the electorate to do something. You can't sit on the sidelines and blame those who are doing. You have to do. You have a responsibility to yourself and your children to get up, join the parties, join the lines, join the groups, and make your voice heard. Remove from the decision-making fora those people that you believe are decadent or incompetent. You can't do it from sitting outside and criticizing them alone.
I agree to some extent with Carl that persons, through whatever organizations, when Wanejil said that if Jesus Christ had come down, he would have voted for the PPP. Where were the voices of the church people? Now, and they're insulated. But I think I take several of the points Carl made, but we do have a system of parliamentary representatives. We vote for those.
Sure.
On November 28, 2011, we gave them collectively a majority, opposition, a majority. There is a view, Carl, and I don't think you should deny this, that we did not make sufficient use of that majority. That there are several pieces of laws that could have been changed. Even parts of the Constitution only require a simple majority. We did not.
No,
do this.
sir, you may not have done it sufficiently. But I think, finish please, sorry.
So you have arguments across all sides. I think the system where you must join a political party, because our electoral system, and we could have, again, the political parties could have changed the representation of the People's Act, because it's not a constitutional requirement. Under the current law, if you want to form a party, you have to contest in 6 of the 10 regions. We should remove that. We should have independent. And I was looking at the representation card made by the PNC to the last Constitutional Reform Commission. They didn't deal with that, but they did with that particular point I'm making. But they did say you should increase the number of first past the post, so that within regions you get more people. You had more representatives you could identify. With this list system, it's really up to the leader of the party to decide. You can put up 65 and an additional number, but at the end of the day is the leader and his little kitchen cabinet who decide who go into parliament. So I think there's a lot of work that we ought to have done. We could have done more. The opposition is clearly stymied. The government has all the representatives. The president saying he is signing no bill, etc. I still believe we should have put more. Every week you put something on the table. Let him continue rejecting his constitutional obligation, and take it. If a bill is not signed, take it to the court and ask for an interpretation of whether or not it is unconstitutional.
But I think one thing in all that Mr. Greenidge would have said, we discount the fact that the political parties have their own mechanisms of dealing with the membership, dealing with the electorate and all of that. And I guess what the youngsters are saying, that they could have done more in...
Listen, I'm saying to you,
but
I don't accept that
apart
approach.
from that...
You don't think they could have done more?
No,
apart
two
from that,
different things. I'm speaking now to the parties. I'm saying you have a political party. That's the mechanism by which
Yes.
you are represented. It's not a machine.
Yeah, but
It is not something that comes from outer space and is there and you say, well, the party did this and the party is made up of members.
Yes.
And if people go in there and say to the leader of the party, you're doing nonsense, the elections within the party does not generate enough females, doesn't generate enough youngsters. We want more in there. They have to change.
Picket your parties as well.
That is what has to happen. That's the point I'm saying.
Yes,
If you
yes.
don't have an active electorate, the party machinery will become a machine. It's not a machine, it's people. And you have to remove them. You're going to vote them out. And when there is fraud in the electoral machinery, people must be able to go in and say, no, this is not acceptable. But if you sit outside,
Your duty doesn't
Right.
begin and end
with the
on
voting.
the voting.
Yeah, that is the point I'm making.
Yes.
it's a point, but I
If there
More
are not,
vote-
if
more-
there
more
are not
education.
youngsters, I'm not going to challenge the other things. Those have a role. I'm simply saying president wasn't signing things, but I'm saying if there are not enough youngsters in a party, you have to go in there as youngsters. In other words, you can't make them yourself and put a youngster.
yes.
You got to come in, be
Okay.
active, and force your way in.
yeah, but
That is why both the PNC and the PPP have found themselves in the difficulties they're in, because people are content to allow those who control the machine, control the organ, to do whatever they like. It
Well,
should
that's
not
the
be
point
happening.
it's
No,
a
but
good
you
point.
gotta go in
It's
and
a
do
good point
something.
because
You gotta go in and do something.
we talk about the Linden situation and we talk about post-election when there was a vibrant youth movement, and those movements were killed by political parties, right? And even in
But
the
it's
current,
people in the political party. It's not a party that destroyed it, it's individuals. And people sat down and watched those individuals abuse their powers.
Carl, you know something as well, though. Whilst people might want to criticize their leadership because they don't want to weaken their leadership.
Well,
So
that is a little bit of a myth. Yeah.
It exists because what do you do? Do you spend your time dealing with the
Internal
actions of the government, or you weaken your leadership and hope that they would listen? They need to start listening.
But
as well.
you can weaken it to get it stronger. You have to fix it for it to get stronger.
Okay, this is pretty interesting.
That's a robust defense, Carl.
But the lights
No,
are
it's
on
true,
us, and I really want to thank you, gentlemen, for being on the program. But before we go, let me just remind people of the symposium on the prorogation and its aftermath, including the Ramatar's announcement. That symposium is being held by the WPA on Thursday, December 18, 2014 at the National Library from 4:30 p.m. The presenters are Professor Clive Thomas, Mr. Carl Greenidge, and Mr. Christopher Ram, and the moderator would be Mrs. Tabitha Sarbo Ali. So please make an effort to be there. Gentlemen, I really would have wanted to continue down this line. We haven't touched it
He's
yet.
just being polite.
But thanks for being here, and I hope that you can come again so that we can continue our discussion on Guyana and politics. So the viewers out there, do have a good night.
Thanks for having us. Let's be